I think it's for a good reason why, as a democracy or as a country, we have the 1992 Constitution as our supreme law. It provides clarity, provides guidance on how some of these processes should be conducted. Moro, my biggest worry as a Ghanaian is the fact that the suspended Chief Justice, somebody whose life, whose words and intentions should embody the constitutional provisions, is the one asking for the express provisions in the Constitution to be waived or to be breached to satisfy her personal interest, to satisfy her whims. It tells a big story about how she conducted herself as Chief Justice when she had the privilege. This morning I watched a video, and that video I have seen it in circulation for several months. And she said, the law is the law. All of a sudden, the law is no more the law. When she was Chief Justice, and people questioned the judiciary and even her application of the law, she said, the law is the law. So if it is in the law, it is expressly expressed or written in the 1992 Constitution that that hearing must be done in camera. It means that it must be done in camera. All of a sudden, the one who believes the advocate for the law is the law is asking that it should be waived because according to her, she wants public hearing. So that, you know the trap they want to set? The moment the government kowtows to their pressure or demands and the hearing is done in public, then another application will come and say, they will bring another application to court and say, the process breached the Constitution. What are they doing? They just want to buy time. And so, she should forget it. There will not be public hearing of her case because the law is the law. Look, I have not been called to the bar, at least not yet. He has been called. The Chief Justice has been called. Godfrey Dami has been called to the bar. But there are levels of knowledge. And one of such levels is specialized knowledge. And so they are specialized in the knowledge of law. I have my own specialization, which is around economic policy, development finance, political science, and what have you.
Interestingly, you don't tout that aspect of you much.
But why? I choose to. I do it that way. So,
All right.
They have been called to the but there are levels of knowledge. But there is a level of knowledge that regardless of your profession, regardless of which bar you have been called into, so whether you were called into the Blue Kiosk bar, or you have been called to my grandmother's drinking spots, or you have been called to the Ghana bar, which makes you a lawyer.
This is a comedian of the month.
There is a level of knowledge. There is a level of knowledge that you must possess, and that knowledge is the knowledge called common sense.
Okay.
Is the knowledge called what? Common sense.
Right.
Common sense because Godfrey Dami is inviting us into an arena.
I didn't tackle that side.
No, Godfrey Dami is inviting us into an arena to discuss whether or not the process has been politicized. In his argument, he made the point that the government has politicized the process because the lawyers for the petitioners, he described them as NDC. Thaddeus, sorry, I don't know him as a member of the NDC. I will be glad to have such a fine brain as a member of my party. But I don't know him as such. Oliver Vomawo, good friend of mine. I wish he was NDC and helping us in his own ways. Chachu Chikata, no doubt about his political affiliation. But if the argument is that your representation, your legal representation, gives you a certain partisan colorization, it means that the Chief Justice is telling us that she's MPP. And that is common logic, common sense.
You mean
and you don't need to be called to the bar.
By parity of reasoning?
Because Godfred Dami is MPP.
No,
is he not?
I get the point.
So if he is saying that the process has been politicized simply because the petitioners have their lawyers or their counsels as people Godfred Dami describes as NDC, so he is telling us that Godfred Dami, who just about 5-6 months ago was the Attorney General of this republic, winning every case possible, predictable cases. Today is the Chief Justice's lawyer. It tells you a story of the level of romance that existed legally between them. And today, you want us to say that Chachu is NDC because of that petitioners as NDC. The point must be made that based on the same logic.
Talking about romance.
No, I'm saying legal romance. You understand what I mean?
I don't. I want to understand you.
No, but don't distract me as well. So Moro, if Godfred Dami tells us that the case has been politicized because the lawyers for the petitioners are NDC, and you, the lawyer for the defendant, you are also NPP. It tells us that you are telling us on authority that the Chief Justice is NPP. That must be established.
How does he say that?
It must be established. Number two, is this ridiculous claims about a certain video or footage of a meeting. I have watched that footage. And I say that, look, let's even assume that the petitioners or counsels for the petitioners and the judges, let's assume that they ever thought of meeting to have any discussion around the matter. Lawyers of their pedigree, you think they will choose a restaurant? Moro, let's even assume, even before we get into the video, you think that they will choose a restaurant to have such a conversation?
I asked
Let's see, we need to credit the people of Ghana with the intelligence that they deserve. Why do we look down on the people that way? Godfred Dami, last year when he was Attorney General, I met him at a certain restaurant. Imagine when he sat there in that restaurant.
Okay, so you know, Ishak talked about, in fact, Ishak mentioned that Alfred Kumi, who is a petitioner of the meeting, petitioner of the General Legal Counsel of the meeting that took place at a popular restaurant in Accra. So this is the video of what exactly happened this morning. Which is to confirm exactly.
So indeed they have arrested him.
Yeah. So no, we've seen some armed men. Having an interaction with him, but whether they picked him or not, the video doesn't show, at least for now, from what we're seeing.
I think the guy have more information.
Yes.
Yeah, more videos.
So this is
somebody
this is
doesn't
what,
want to see something.
So we see NIB with the National Investigation Bureau.
No, we'll get there.
We'll come to that issue. We're still watching the video.
But again,
the sound. So just give us just 2 seconds. Let's just watch this for a few seconds.
I'm not recording. I want to know where I'm going. You told me that you are saying.
If you want to follow, you can follow.
I can drive. Maybe my main driving.
Why? No. We are professionals. We are not here to harm anybody. You are equally on camera, okay? We don't want any issues, okay? We are taking to a DNA process, okay? Please, what's the warrant? I don't want to handcuff you.
Please, why are you sending him?
Bring him and stand down. No, come.
No, why are you sending him? the name for him? Please, why are you sending him? Why are you sending him? She has to record so that they know. Why are you sending him?
I don't know where I'm going. You told me you're CID.
Let's go.
I said, let's go.
So the footage you just saw, it's you can call it an interaction or an altercation, however you want to describe it, between Alfred Kumi the chap who has petitioned the General Legal Counsel of a certain meeting that transpired somewhere in a restaurant.
Alleged meeting.
Alleged
I mean,
meeting.
we saw the
From
video. People greeting themselves
that
and all of
transpired
that.
somewhere in at a popular restaurant here in Accra, and we picked up information this morning. In fact, the General Secretary of the MPP put it out there on the social media, platform, and then also we saw that of his assessor. So what Annie actually did, of course, as a responsible producer, was to follow up on what exactly had happened, and this is what she's picked up so far, and that's what we're seeing. The footage is what we're seeing, which is to confirm that indeed something like that happened, but we still don't have the full picture. Okay, so we don't have the full picture, and also we've also picked up some information that some security personnel also visited the regional chairman, Ashanti regional chairman of the MPP this morning. That's Chairman Wuntumi. We don't know whether to pick him up or to interrogate him over an issue, but we're told that as we speak, they are in his residence somewhere in the Ashanti region. We'll also bring you some details on that as well. All right, so Annie is magnanimous enough. She's given us 10 more minutes.
Yes, because you took about
10 more
5 minutes of my time. It's put that on record.
Eric Edem Agbana.
It's important.
My
No, it
friend,
took
my
more than
friend.
5 minutes. It took more than 5
No,
minutes.
no.
It took more than
He gave
5
me 10
minutes.
minutes. You spoke more than.
No.
You've
I
spoken
spoke
more
for
than
4
5
minutes.
minutes.
It took the rest. So
Anyway,
Moro,
so we'll split it.
So Moro, again,
Okay, please go ahead.
the video. It's an empty video where we saw clearly that lawyer Thaddeus Sorry was seated with one Dr. Kotejani, who I know is his client.
Right.
He is the owner of the defunct Ideal Finance. So I know him very well. And he saw, coincidentally, two people or a judge walking in. These are people in the same profession, the same legal fraternity.
Okay.
Even at the court premises, they greet each other. They hug when they have to. How do you describe that as a meeting? Again, like I'm saying, I met Godfrey Dami in a very popular restaurant in Accra last year when he was Attorney General.
Yeah.
In that meeting, when I met him at the restaurant, imagine any judge had walked in and shook hands with him. Should that be enough reason to say they were having a meeting to maybe compromise on a certain legal process? No. Clearly, even if they had any such intent, it will not take place at such a public place. And so let's even put that ridiculous claim elsewhere. And when you make an allegation as important as this, you should be able to back it. And so the gentleman has been invited or picked up to help the investigative authority bodies to, he claimed, I heard him on TV. He sat on TV, made very, very serious allegations, and confidently even said that nobody could touch him, and that he knew what he was talking about, that he had evidence. And so if you have been invited to provide the evidence for us to salvage the judiciary, for us to ensure that the credibility of the judiciary is protected, what is all this noise? And today, Justin Kodria is asking people to go and mass up in the house and all of that. Where was it in the 8 years? We saw, look, Power, everybody wrote something on Facebook. Power is very, very tricky.
Right.
Today, they are screaming, crying about legitimate processes to invite people who make very serious allegations to come and provide evidence. And you have a problem with it. If indeed you are claiming that it is possible the gentleman has more videos or better content than what we have watched, it is as simple as going to the security agencies and providing them with the so-called evidence. But I have a serious concern with the restaurant in question. I want to know, how did the public ascertain the CCTV footage?
That's a very legitimate question.
It's a legitimate question because
I was coming there, but now that
we all attend meetings at restaurants. In fact, right after I leave your studio, just across, there's a popular hotel. I will be having some meetings there. Does that mean
Are you safe?
that, yes, am I safe? Am I safe? Because all these meetings, like I said, yesterday I put something on Facebook that we should request CCTV of a particular place. I don't want to mention it on air. And you will see all kinds of people walking there. We meet our colleagues in MPP. We meet judges at all of these places. So does it mean that tomorrow, if I walk into a public restaurant,
Okay.
I see a judge that I recognize and just engage in a handshake or exchange of pleasantries, that footage is out and it will be deemed that maybe I'm trying to compromise the person.
Okay.
The restaurant also has questions to answer.
All right.
And those who pay, I don't know that place,
Okay.
but those who are patrons of that particular restaurant, they should be advising themselves by now.
All right.
But right from the video, it is clear there was no meeting,
Okay.
but coincidentally, people in the same legal profession met each other, just exchanged place in less than 30 seconds.
Okay.
We saw it.
Okay.
So what is all this noise about? A meeting to, compromise
Okay.
on the legitimate processes. As for the Chief Justice, I am happy she's experiencing how the legal processes or the judiciary works.
All right.
Your research.
President Mahama will not be intimidated by the noise of the NPP. We will go through
Sorry, can I chip in
the
with 2
provision
minutes?
as provided for in Article 146.
Okay.
And if at the end of the day she is innocent, she will be
All right,
reinstated.
so my
Whatever the advice of the committee will be, President Mahama
All right.
will implement it. You both should stop crying.
All right.
You have
So my
barely done only
understanding-
4 months.
so my
and you are
understanding-
crying
Eric,
already.